Well, welcome back to Wisdom with the Wise Counselor podcast. Listen, I'm your host, the Wise Counselor, also known by my birth name. I'm simply Lateef. This podcast is all about creating a space where we can have real, raw, honest conversations, where we keep wellness and mental health at the forefront. Somebody say forefront, the forefront of our minds, and we stay intentional about our growth for our minds, for our bodies, and for our spirits and our souls. Today's episode is really just a reflection. No heavy structure, no big agenda, just a moment from today that got my mind thinking about something much more deeper. Now, part of my daily journey, I work in education. I'm an educational kind of admin at our district office. And my work allows me to support the people, the places, and the programs that shape the student life and the student experience across all of our schools. Some days that means that I'm helping to develop initiatives for students, listening to problems, helping people problem solve. Other days it means that I'm supporting staff and collaborating with different parts of the district, different stakeholders, parents, community members, partners, and every now and then it also means that I get to step out of the office and really be present with students directly. Actually, my job is really rooted in being with students because you can't showcase the student life experience without being boots to the ground with them. So today, though, I got an opportunity to head off campus, and today happened to be a day where I could chaperone an offsite experience with a group of our high school students. It was a leadership youth day where kids from across Cincinnati, from different districts, came together to talk about what it means to be a leader in 2026. How do we use empathy and humanity to grow and be better and just to evolve as leaders? So I had the opportunity to take that group of kids from our high school to this leadership conference, and a part of that conference was going through several museum exhibits that gave us an opportunity to reflect and talk deeply about our morals, our values, our ethics, and our wants for ourselves. So it was a leadership experience that had some of our most advanced students attend, and an opportunity to really just help them get off site, because talking about leadership and talking about how we want to show up in our community is one thing, but actually getting hands-on time to do that with peers in your school and throughout the city is a whole nother level of experience. And so really grateful for this opportunity to go see the magic being sparked in kids today. And so as we were going through the museum, it was full of groups and lots of students moving around, several exhibits, lots of conversations happening, and we were probably about halfway through one of the exhibits when my phone started buzzing. Now, again, I'm off campus. So now normally when you are in a museum setting, you ignore your phone. But this notification, it was absolutely different. It was our Raptor alert system. And if you don't work in education or if you don't have this tool, let me let you know the Raptor alert system is the emergency notification system that our school district uses when something serious happens. It allows staff members to get alerts immediately. Everything from the building is locked down to there's a potential fire to there's a bomb threat to there's an evacuation needed. And this message said that there actually had been a bomb threat made towards the high school. We were evacuating. Now imagine standing in the middle of a museum exhibit reading, that message while you're responsible for a group of students. And you know how word travels fast, with kids, because even though they can't have cell phones in the day because of the state law in Ohio, magically things start getting to kids even off site because, kids are pulling out their phones. And immediately, your brain starts shifting gears. You're thinking about what's happening back at school, how serious the situation may be. I'm also thinking, what are these kids being fed from kids that are back at the base or back on campus? Because we are like third-party flies on a wall getting updates through technology. And so when we stepped out of the exhibit area, within 5 minutes, one of those students actually walked up to me. Granted, I had not even told them about what it came to my official official school phone yet. They already had got information from their peers. And so about 5 minutes after stepping out of that exhibit, one of the kids said, "Mr. Johnson, did you hear the news?" And I'm acting like I didn't know what they were talking about, because as a counselor, you must remain cool as a cucumber. That's my training, and I will never let that go. So the kid said, "Did you hear the news?" And I'm like, what happened? And they were like, "There was a bomb threat at the school." And I remember thinking to myself, wow, how fast this news is traveling. And also I'm thinking, well, thank God I'm here and we're safe. I'm going to control what we can control. And, that's when I say questions. And I mean, a lot of questions started coming my way. Students were asking me about what happened and whether everyone had been evacuated, if the district had sent any updates, and what the next steps might be. But there was one question that kept coming over and over and over again. Again, these are high achieving students who really love school. And the question that they kept asking me was simple. "Mr. Johnson, are we going to be off of school tomorrow?" They kept asking me, "Are we going to be off of school tomorrow?" Now, let me pause for a second and explain something. Again, these were not students who were struggling academically. These weren't students who disliked school. This was a voluntary opportunity to do something amazing and to strengthen your leadership skills. So the kids who came forward are kids who are deeply invested in growing. These were students who actually volunteered to be a part of this leadership experience. And some of the most engaged and motivated students that I get to see interacting across the high school building. But for the next couple of hours while we were still at the museum, I would say about every 10 minutes, no joke, another student would walk over and ask me the same thing. "Did you hear anything yet? Did the district say that we're going to be off of school tomorrow? Do you think that we'll even have school for the rest of the week?" That kind of stuff. And at first, I found myself thinking, there's no way that these kids hate school that much. We work at the #1 public high school in the state of Ohio. These students thrive here. But as the afternoon went on, something started to click for me. This wasn't really about school. Here's the nugget that I want you to hear. It was about time. What those students were really asking, without necessarily saying it out loud, was this: do we get some time back for us to be us? Time to breathe, time to rest, time to do the things that we really want to do, time to do the things that we really have to do. Because the reality is that students today are scheduled constantly. It's no different than an adult who has a family. Young kids, even 5, 6, 7-year-olds, are booked with activities and extracurriculars and family obligations and school and homework and practices and church and clubs and leadership programs. And then you get into the older students, college prep and test prep, and maybe working a job or babysitting and watching siblings, maybe going to help out their grandparent. Their calendars are packed. So when something interrupts the routine, even something serious like what happened today, the bomb threat, the brain immediately starts calculating the possibility of a pause. And again, these are kids. Their expectation to show up and the amount of weight that they have for responsibility in comparison to many adults is going to be much less than what an adult has to carry. There's no way that they're going to bring everybody back if this is happening, was their way of saying, can we get a break? So in their minds, the possibility of the day off felt real. But standing there listening to them, something deeper hit me. Even among students who love school, who succeed in school, or who are deeply engaged in their education, there is still a deep desire and a craving for space. Space to breathe, space to slow down, space to simply exist without the next responsibility already waiting and taking a ticket in the line. And if I'm honest, that's not just a student issue. like I said a little bit ago, that's an all of us issue. Adults do the same thing. We fill our calendars, we overschedule ourselves and our lives, and before we know it, we're moving from one obligation to the next without ever even giving ourselves the gift of a break, right? Margin to think and space to rest and a margin to be calm and at peace. So today, in the middle of the museum, during a moment of uncertainty, surrounded by some of the brightest students in our school, the thing that seemed to weigh the heaviest on their mind wasn't fear. It wasn't the panic of hearing that there was a bomb threat. It wasn't even the emergency itself. It was the possibility of getting time. And that moment reminded me that sometimes the smallest questions reveal the biggest truths. There's a generation right now that isn't necessarily trying to escape school. They're trying to find breathing room. And I'm challenging you to think about that. Whether you work in the field of education or you have kids or not, there is a generation of people younger than you that are trying to find space to breathe, right? Breathing room to experience life outside of a schedule. Breathing room to reconnect with themselves. Breathing room just to exist. And maybe that's something that we all should think about a little bit more intentionally in this next season, especially as we begin to think about spring coming. Make sure you think about all of the things that you're doing. Celebrate those things, but never forget the gift of time doesn't usually magically present itself. We have to be intentional about carving out space to honor time, to honor ourselves, and to give ourselves some breathing room. That's what I got for today, family. I hope that you like, you share, and you subscribe for more motivational moments and podcasts like this. Once again, I'm the Wise Counselor, and as I always say, remember that you are the only one who is in control of your thoughts, your actions, and your reactions to what life throws your way. And I can't think of a better saying than that today, because bomb threats and people running around and authorities being called, that ain't got nothing to do with me. But you know what we do? We act cool as a cucumber, handle things as they come your way, right? So again, you're the only one who's in control of your thoughts, your actions, and your reactions to what life throws your way. Get seated in you. Focus on your goals. Keep being the best that you can be. And I know that whatever the universe has for you is for you. And we'll talk soon.